Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. For this month's Birds Notes program, we're going to talk about some of the more colorful birds of spring migration. Joining us from the Audubon Center in Huntington is bird expert and conservation biologist Mark Lavar. Mark, thank you for being with us as always.
Always great to be here, especially during an exciting time like spring migration.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is certainly the time of year when migration is really getting underway. And one group of birds that gets everyone excited because this is the time to see them are the warblers.
The warblers, yeah, migration, is happening. There's a webpage you can go to called Birdcast, and you can actually see the nighttime migration. We've got raptors moving. We've got a lot of our songbirds moving at night. Mid-May, late May is just a great time to see them all. And like you said, to get a glimpse of the more colorful and hear some of the more musical birds, the warblers.
Right, and certainly along the lake, all those water birds also. But today we're talking about the warblers.
Correct. Yeah, this is, as you said, an exciting time because many of the warblers do breed here in Vermont, but a number of them breed further north. And so this is the time of year that we can see one of two times. You can see them in the fall. They're not as colorful, but some of these more northern species that breed up in Canada, but they pass through Vermont, and it's a great time to catch a glimpse of them. And, I walk out my backyard. The Audubon is great. And my backyard is full of different things. One that I heard this morning was the yellow warbler, which is singing over in my lilac bush here. So, this is just a sharp looking bird, and it is one of the only warbler that's completely yellow all the way to those undertail coverts.
Beautiful.
Now,
and this is, the Audubon Center is in Underhill, and in Starksboro? Sorry. Huntington, of course. And this is its busiest season, I would think, with all this happenings.
We have fields, we have mature forest, we have shrublands, we have wet areas, and because of that, we just attract a diversity of species that come through here. One of those that we just saw pop up that, again, I can hear standing out while I'm gardening is the chestnut-sided warbler. And the yellow warbler goes, sweet, 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 you're so sweet. But the chestnut-sided goes, please, please to meet you. Now, a viewer did mention, and maybe we'll get around to it, putting some actual bird calls on us on the show, but today you're just going to have to settle for me. And then this is another one that I hear in kind of the young forest, the early successional habitat. This is the American redstart, which is a warbler. It just doesn't have warbler in its name. And this is a nice looking adult male with that black and orange. And the way that I can identify them once the leaves are all out is they go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10.
That's great.
So you come up
Stunning
with all
bird.
you come up with all these little ways of memorizing bird song. Because as you mentioned earlier, before we came on, the leaves come out and they can be tough to see.
Yeah, it is hard. And so what about warblers in other parts of the center? What other parts might attract different warblers?
So once you go up onto our back hillside and into the deeper forest area, you get some really striking birds that we find here. This first one is a Blackburnian warbler, and I'm not going to even try to sing its song, but it is just like a little flame floating around up in hemlocks and pines. A great bird to see, but you may have to lean your neck back a little bit because they do take the treetop perspective on things. Another one that you can see, and this one is a bird that likes more of the understory in the forest. So this is our black-throated blue. And you can see it has that little white check on its wing. And one way that I remember this is it goes zoo, 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 zoo. And it's kind of like its song goes up to the sky. What color is the sky? Black, it's blue. So
I heard that one. I've heard that guy.
yeah, it's a pretty common species in our deciduous forests here in Vermont. And then that last guy that we just saw, kind of its counterpart, the black-throated green. And this one we find in more coniferous forests. This one's song goes zoo, 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 zee. And I remember it because the song goes up and down, and so do the Green Mountains. So I make the connection there with our black-throated green. So, you know, three pretty common birds, maybe not so much the Blackburnian, but the other two, if you're out moving through the mature forests of Vermont.
Okay. And are those migrators, or do some of those stay around here?
Nope, nope. All these birds that we've mentioned so far are birds that left their wintering grounds, and that could be you know, Central America, South America, even the southern US, and made the big push to come up here, primarily for more space. And, you know, we have some great insects here, which is what they need to feed their young when they're nesting. So they take advantage of our Vermont summers.
Awesome. And so what are some others you want to highlight?
So a good one is, you know, the masked bandit, the common yellowthroat. Again, another warbler. And the male has that dark mask on its face. This is a bird that's very common in our wetter areas, around ponds or in shrubby, wet areas. Witchity, 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 witch is its song, but a great one, and one we hear all the time here at the center. Another bird that we hear as well, this is again a deciduous forest bird, the oven bird. And it's a warbler. It gets its name from its nest, which it builds on the ground, that kind of looks like a pizza oven. It's got a little roof on it, and its song is pizza, 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 pizza. So I always tell the kids, where do you put the pizza? In the oven. And so you can remember that. And
Great.
then we've had this little guy up at the office just singing away. This is a northern Perula. And this is another forest bird that you can find. And we see it here at the Audubon pretty regularly, but not as regularly as some of the other species I mentioned earlier. So, but an exciting bird to hear and see.
And most of these are really, they're smaller than a sparrow. Right?
Yeah.
They're little birds.
And most of them are migrating at night. You know, they're taking advantage of the evening time and then feeding during the day as they migrate north. You know, some of them taking the leap across the Yucatan, you know, from Yucatan Peninsula across the Gulf of Mexico to the United States. Some of them coming up through Texas, along the East Coast, and you know, working really hard and really fast to get back to their breeding grounds for our relatively short summer before they head back south again.
Yeah, and there are a couple warblers in particular that you and Audubon have been focusing a lot of effort on lately.
Yeah, so we've been doing a lot of work with two species. They're closely related, the golden-winged warbler. This is a bird of the Champlain Valley, shrubby areas. It's in decline. Its populations have been declining. So we've been working with both public and private landowners to manage the habitat, which is, again, those kind of old field habitat, and keep that around for this bird to breed in. This is a common bird in Heinsberg, Shelburne, Charlotte, Middlebury, and it's very close relative. And these two birds actually hybridize. They will breed together. This is the blue-winged warbler. You can see it has a little bit of a different facial pattern. And the golden-winged warbler goes bzz, 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 and the blue-winged warbler goes bzz, bzz. So they even sing very similar songs. But their Audubon has been putting a lot of work in with, like I said, landowners to manage against invasives and for native shrubs to keep that habitat available for them.
Is there also a no-mow in May, or it's more habitat with the shrubs and getting rid of invasives?
Yeah, it's more habitat with the shrubs. You know, the no-mow would be more for grassland birds like bobolinks and meadowlarks. But these birds, you know, they're kind of on those field edges, or, you know, the old farm field that has come up on the back 40 that's come up into shrubs, and they really like that habitat. Very, and then next to some woods.
Right. Okay, perfect. They're so beautiful.
Yeah.
Any other non-warbler migrants that you want to bring our attention to today?
So I always have to give a nod to one of my favorite birds, which is the gray catbird. Right there with the yellow warbler in my lilac bush. When he comes back every year, he wakes me up. He talks to me out in the yard, a very musical, multi-phrased, he'll quip and, chat. And as a bander, it was the first bird that I ever held in my hand. So I really like the gray catbird. And then I'll throw a sparrow in there. Sitting on my back porch the other day, saw something fly into the shrubs, decided, oh, I'll check it out. I thought it was a song sparrow, but lo and behold, it was a white-crowned sparrow, which is a bird that's just passing through. But when it comes to sparrows, this is a sharp-looking bird with that black and white crown there.
Terrific. That's wonderful. And what birds are mainly waking you up in the morning?
Oh, the catbird's there, the cardinal's there, the yellow warbler, song sparrows, and this time of year you can wake up and I can go out in my backyard and, you might hear a different song, and that might be something that just showed up. I heard veeries this morning as I walked my dog. So there's all sorts of things. And if folks want to get out and see lots of birds, the Audubon Center is a great place to do it.
It certainly is. Thank you. And if you have a bird-related question, you can pass it along to Mark. You can contact him at the Audubon Center in Huntington, or you can drop him a line by email. His address is mlabar@audubon.org. Send Mark your questions and pictures, and he'll try to find some answers for you on an upcoming edition of Bird Notes. Mark, thank you so much, and happy birding during this high season of May.
Hey, happy birding to everybody else. And don't forget, it's our birdathon. So if you go to our website, you can check that out and help Audubon out.
All right. Thank you, Mark. And once again, thank you for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. Stay well.